Hello! It is another Tuesday, which of course means it's time for another in real life video. And for this week, we are actually doing what I originally intended to do last week, and that is go through and look and vote in the Game Awards, the 2025 Game Awards, which has become maybe the most popular, or at least it has the most eyes on it, right? It depends on your definition of popular, but one of the more popular, if not the most popular, the preeminent video game award show that occurs on an annual basis, right? There's plenty of them. Individual sites and like YouTube channels and whatnot tend to do their own lists. There's also other large organizations that do their own, right? I believe the Golden Joysticks had something there recently. They already did theirs for the year. There's also the BAFTAs. I think the people who run GDC, doesn't GDC tend to do stuff like that? Either way, there's more than just this. If you're keen on it, it's out there. Look for it. But we're doing this because it's the big popular one, right? This is the big one. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to vote in them. Like I said, I tried to do this last week, but the site was just getting so hammered that I couldn't do it. Like, the site was so bad. It wasn't even just like it was slow, but it was actively like erroring out the entire site. It was effectively getting DDoSed, which, you know, maybe that'll tell you something about how these results are going to pan out, at least for viewer voting. Thank goodness that doesn't carry much weight in the majority of categories, viewer voting or audience voting or whatever you call it. More so is valued their esteemed, what would you say, slew of panelists, various people who either make, critique, or in some way are involved in video games, right? In years past, they have made public all of the people who are their panelists, all of the judges. I'm pretty sure they did it this year. I haven't actually checked, but I would imagine that if you look under like About or FAQ or whatever on the main page. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to do a little quick cut and we're going to go into picture-in-picture mode so we can start looking at these and voting. We are back. All right, we are back. Hello. As you can see, we've got all loaded up and everything. We're raring for action. Now, before we get ahead of time, or before we get ahead of ourselves, let me say that we'll be voting for games that we think will win. Not necessarily games that I think ought to win or games that I like the most out of these, but games that I think will win. In the past, there have been questions as to how diplomatic the Game Awards will be. When it comes to Jeff Keighley, like doing presentations, very diplomatic. But when it comes to actually choosing like what game will win in a category, they very much seem to defer to the consensus of the panel of judges. Whether that mean, and this is going to be a big point of contention this year, I think, even more so than in years past. I think that goes all the way down to, is a game going to absolutely sweep the show? And I think that we're in for sweeping this year, especially if the results at the Golden Joystick Awards are anything to go by. But I think we're bound to see it here as well. Anyway, we're starting with perhaps the most popular category, the big one, right? Which we start with voting on this, but when it comes to the actual show itself, well, it ends up being at the tail end of everything, right? Because, you know, you don't show Best Actor and Best Actress at the start, do you? But nonetheless, Game of the Year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. We have 6 entries, and I believe it caps out at 6. Yeah. There are some categories which will have 5, maybe even 4, but I think it tends to cap out for 6, usually. There may be some exceptions. Anyway, first up is what is in danger? What is perhaps one step away from glory? The glory being sweeping the entire awards show. That being Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a game which I have not played but is very high on the to-do list, right? Ideally, I would like to get to it next year on the channel, but don't hold me to it. But yes, it is very high on the list. It is a role-playing game. It's sort of turn-based tactical in the same way of like a old Final Fantasy or whatever, or like a JRPG, right? Anyway, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. One which is also on the to-do list, but maybe a little bit further down, right? We'll do another updated backlog to-do list sort of video at the start of next year, the start of 2025. Man, it's that time of year where we do these sort of like upkeep, like housekeeping sorts of videos for IRLs. I don't know, I kind of enjoy it. I enjoy the routine, like, tradition of stuff like this, like annual things or whatever. I mean, I guess maybe that's no big surprise, right? The sort of the start of the channel was a series of videos called Morrowind Mondays. Yeah, okay. This guy likes a routine, I guess. Fair enough, fair enough. I guess it's not that big of a shock. All right, but this year, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, it's not a matter, for every category in which this game appears, it is the game to beat, right? And mind you, as it is with every year, I haven't played most of these games. I have not played most of these. I'm vaguely familiar with every single one of them, especially with Game of the Year, less so with certain other categories, as we'll get into eventually. But man, Expedition 33 is the game to beat. And frankly, I don't think anybody here has beaten it. I like, these are all fantastic games. They all had a moment this year. Though, I don't know, I would maybe argue that Death Stranding 2 didn't have as big of a splash, as big of a moment this year as I would have anticipated, right? I like the tail end on it didn't go for as long as I would have suspected. Like, there was definitely some cool hubbub about it, but it definitely did not garner the same amount of talk as, like, Bonanza did, Silk Song, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Honestly, Hades 2 suffered a little bit as well. Well, suffered. It didn't get into the, like, cultural zeitgeist. It wasn't in the discourse as it was quite as much. And I think that is due to two reasons, that being it's a sequel that pulls some similar tricks to the first game, you know, which the first game was a runaway success and hit, and I believe garnered some awards here at the Game Awards. But did Hades 1 come out even when it was known as the Game Awards? Jeff Keighley's The Game Awards? It may have still been the Spike VGAs, the Video Game Awards. The same place where they, for the first time ever, revealed the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. If you can believe it. Wow. But it's a combination of, it's a sequel that's very similar to the former, what it is succeeding, and it had a roughly 1 year long early access period, right? Wherein I don't know how much of the game was playable, right? But it is sort of like a combat mechanics sort of focused game, so you kind of get the gist of it, you know? Maybe if the story was more of the takeaway, which, you know, it does have a pretty good, fun story, but regardless, it just wasn't quite in the talking points like the others were, in my opinion, at least in my circles, the groups that I follow and people that I listen to and all of that. But you know what really was? Man, Expedition 33. We got to give it to that. It's it's the game to beat. It will be more shocking if there is a category that this game is nominated for that it doesn't win. But regardless, all the games here are dope as hell. But Expedition 33, runaway, wild success story. All right. Let's see. Next category, please. Oh, yeah, by the way, you can watch this year's The Game Awards live on December 11th. This makes it sound like I'm sponsored by them. God, I wish. Send me some of that money. Oh my gosh. But regardless, yeah, we'll probably do a watch along for it because, you know, as folks are keen to jab, it's also the game advertisements, right? They love to tease what's to come, you know? I can't do. Anyway, Claire Obscure Expedition. Oh, sorry. Best Game Direction. Expedition 33 once again. Death Stranding 2. Ghost of Yote or Yotai? I don't know. Hades 2 and Split Fiction. Split Fiction by a previous winner. I think also Ghost of Yote. Didn't Sucker Punch win for Ghost of Tsushima? I think. Just as well Hades. Right, just as well. Actually, in fact, all of these have won before, big time, at the Game Awards, except for one from a brand new studio, that being Expedition 33, which they're probably going to get it, right? I have not even played the game. This is purely from Scuttlebutt alone, right? Like I said, this is a very personal and frankly stupid sort of video where we're going through and doing these. This is not unlike the ranking videos that we like to do. But is deliberately a little stupid and ill-informed, you know? But regardless, it's Expedition 33. There's no... I feel like in a category like this, it's probably just going to win it, right? If I wanted to say maybe if we went with like a diplomatic approach, Death Stranding 2 takes the win here, you know? Jeff Keighley, the host and primary producer behind the Game Awards, good friends with Hideo Kojima. But like I said in the past, they haven't been diplomatic. They adhere very much to the panel of judges. And I think it's going to be Expedition 33. Okay. Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and Narrative Development in a Game. Once again, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Ghosts of Yote, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Silent Hill F. Oh, the new one. Very fascinating to see a Kojima Productions game up here alongside contemporary Konami, right? Especially given the history between those two. Very wild. I think the only thing that would make it more wild is if there was a category up here where like the remake for Metal Gear was a nomination alongside a Kojima Productions game. That would be very wild. Especially, well, you know what? It's wild either way that goes. Either way that goes, if one of the two of them win it, it's wild. Someday maybe. Someday. Whew, the drama. But regardless, best narrative is probably going to be Expedition 33, right? It's probably going to be that, right? I'm sorry to the other ones. It's cool that Silent Hill F got a nomination here. It's very cool, but it's probably going to be Expedition 33. They're probably sweeping this entire year, right? Like we had said, there were years past. The most recent one, I think, was the dual sweep, where there can be two kings and they are madly in love. That being Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Wake 2 shared a year where they pretty much dominated the entire scoreboard, right? It was just like, well, which one's going to take it here? You know, if there's only one of them, it's probably them that's going to take it, you know? If it's both of them, it's either the two of them. Your guess is as good as mine. But also fantastic. Both of those games. Really love both of those games. Worth attacking on. And I'm sure I'll love Expedition 33 when I eventually play it. I'm sure. But it is probably going to be what wins. Best Art Direction for Outstanding Creative and or Technical Achievement in Artistic Design and Animation. Expedition 33, once again. Death Stranding 2, Ghosts of Yote, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong. And it will probably be Expedition 33. Right? Because I love the idea of Ghosts of Yote being on here, because it tries to be a lot more grounded in the real world and all of that. And there's beauty in that, just as well as, you know, more, what would you say, cartoonish, more like Flight of Fancy sort of artistic approach with Hades 2 and Silksong, you know? Those are fantastic. Very cool to have that on there. I think it's very much worth having nods toward like best art direction also being that. In fact, you could probably split it off and be like best art direction realism, best art direction fantastical, or something. They probably wouldn't say fantastical. I would say that, but they probably wouldn't. But I don't know. The other one that's up for the running might be Death Stranding 2. It might snub Expedition 33. But at the end of the day, bless your damn heart, Norman Reedus, but I feel like they have a similar DNA, and I feel like Expedition 33 is just doing it more, right? I feel like it's doing it more because it's new, you know? Death Stranding 2, we're treading some familiar territory. It's not as shocking as it would have been with the first game, you know? Having a baby, having Norman Reedus, having rain that's no good to be in, right? When people die, yikes. We're all familiar with a lot of the concepts, and granted, they do introduce new stuff, but Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is just all new stuff, you know? I feel like it's all new stuff, and you gotta, you know, give them props for that. Voting for Expedition 33, once again, it's the game to beat. All right, let's see here. Best Score and Music. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. It's really wild that we're including and or licensed soundtrack. That said, I don't think any of these are inclusive of the licensed soundtracks. In fact, I don't know if, well, maybe Death Stranding did have licensed music. That's entirely possible. But it's probably Expedition 33 again. These are all games that we've seen before. This is naming off sound directors. I don't know who these people are. Yeah, I don't know who these people are. Maybe performers. Maybe. But regardless, it's probably going to be Lorien Testard for Expedition 33. My apologies for my French. Okay. Best audio design. Some new ones here, some unexpected ones. There's, of course, Expedition 33. There's Death Stranding 2. There's Ghost of Yotai. And there's Silent Hill F returning again. Horror games often do have very good sound design. It's not uncommon to see them up in the running for any sort of, like, hey, here's sound design. Because, you know, if you want it to be spooky and atmospheric, sound design is kind of a must. You know, having fun and good sound design, you tend to want that. Battlefield 6. Wild to see a return to form for DICE, for Battlefield, or Battlefield Studios, I guess. Is DICE no longer around? I don't keep up with them these days. But true enough, although I don't think Battlefield 6 will take the cake, it is nice to see them here. Because historically, they were one of the first modern military shooter franchises, or like IP, when it comes to video games, that really went out of their way to nail sound design, audio design. I remember for early versions of Battlefield, like Battlefield 3, maybe even pre-Battlefield 3, there was so much hubbub around the fact that they would go out and record like actual gunfire. You know, they would go out and try to get realistic versions of the sounds, and they would go through with like very specific audio equipment to try and mimic that sound within the game. And true enough, a lot of other places, a lot of other games have gone on to copy that, you know? It was kind of a big deal that they did it, and they were one of the first ones to do it to such a degree. But nowadays, a lot of folks do it. But it's good to see that they're still kind of at the top of their game. They're garnering a nomination here. But, sorry, it is probably going to be Expedition 33. Granted, I don't know how audio design is in that game. Fair enough, I don't actually know. But if we're voting, right, like we said at the top of this, we're voting for not where my heart is necessarily, which it is often in the same place, though. But we're voting for what I think will win. We're trying to predict it. Expedition 33. Okay. Best performance. Awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. We have Ben Starr, a fan favorite currently, right? Everybody loves Ben Starr these days. He seems like a really cool dude. What's not to like? Charlie Cox. We're getting a little Hollywood here. Charlie Cox, if you didn't know, voices the main protagonist in Expedition 33. Your Daredevil, your Matt Murdock. But he is here, and he has been kind of hilariously aloof about the game. He, as far as I know, he has not played it. As far as I know, he is very dismissive of how deserving he is of rewards for this game, and he is also very shocked about just the degree of acclaim that this game is garnering, right? But alas, I don't think he'll win it. If you wanted to get diplomatic about things and be like, oh, Jeff Keighley wants to get Hollywood a little bit involved, thus Charlie Cox is going to win. You know, in past years, nominations have been, there have been other Hollywood actors there, right? For example, with Cyberpunk 2077, there was Keanu Reeves, Idris Elba for the expansion, stuff like that. But in the past, like I said, they're not terribly diplomatic. They tend to adhere to the judgment passed by their panel of judges. And as much as everybody loves Charlie Cox, I don't think he's going to take the cake. Here for Ghost of Yotei, Erika Ishii, also voicing the protagonist, also got like a disturbing, like freakish amount of hate online by total freaks, right? A whole bunch of like freaks online were just mad at this person and sucks ass, right? Completely horrible nightmare situation, right? Fuck all those people. Also, here, Jennifer English, I think also was nominated in the same year as Baldur's Gate 3 because Jennifer English, of course, is the voice actor behind Shadowheart from BG3 and did one heck of a bang up job there. And as far as I know, has also done one heck of a bang up job here. I think also, is this cheating if I remember this? I think maybe there was like a big speech that she gave at the Golden Joystick Awards or whatever, which also maybe garnered her a little bit of hate from some of the same freaks we were just talking about. Right? Right? Oh, they're always at it again. It's so tiring, right? They never quit this shit. Oh my God. Jesus. But regardless, props to Jennifer English, once again, becoming sort of a staple in the realm of video game voice acting. Now, finally, here is Konatsu Kato. My apologies for pronunciation. I assume this is the person who is voicing and probably mocapping for Silent Hill F, the main protagonist, right? I would assume so. I have no idea what kind of performance was delivered in there, but nice to see a nomination and not just have it all be Expedition 33. Speaking of people as well who are sort of mainstays, staples in the diet that is video game voice acting casts, Troy Baker is here, and it is for his work as Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which he did do quite a remarkable job, but I don't think he's gonna win out. Who won last year for best performance? Did he stand a chance last year? Maybe. But yeah, we're talking about like fan faves like Jennifer English, like Ben Starr, who are sort of seeing their like their stardom within video games at least sort of rising and people really enjoying them. That used to be Troy Baker. He still kind of is, but he's taken a bit of a backseat, which is probably for the best. You know, get in the next generation, which isn't to say like, you know, like Troy Baker isn't literally like 10, 20 years the senior of Jennifer English and Ben Starr. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Troy Baker, what's your skin routine? But regardless, I think here for this category, it's probably between Ben Starr and Jennifer English. And who do I think will win it? I'm not sure. It could be either one of them. I would be shocked if it's anyone else. I'm very curious as to who won last year's best performance, because I do wonder if Troy Baker stood a chance there, because he does do a pretty convincing Indiana Jones from what I've heard. It's really wild. Getting even the remarks of Harrison Ford himself to be like, whoa, this is fuck Han Solo. But regardless, Maybe Jennifer English, maybe on account of the Golden Joysticks win. Maybe I need to commit to Ben Starr or Jennifer English. I need to commit to one of the two of them. I have to commit to either Ben Starr or Jennifer English. I'm not sure who. Me when I'm in a monogamous but bisexual fantasy dating world. We'll commit to Jennifer English on account of the big dub at the Golden Joysticks. On account of that. Also on account of being Shadowheart. Some biases seeping through. It would be so cool if Jennifer English were like a new... What if there must always be a Jennifer, right? If Jennifer English is the new Jennifer Hale in some ways. All right. There must always be a Jennifer upon the throne. All right. Innovation in accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Now, on this list, there's actually a game that we played for a couple hours on the channel, that being Atomfall, right? But as far as I know, the only game on this list, can learn about the nominees. What's this going to do? Oh, I see. Yeah, as far as I know, the only game that really, really went above and beyond was South of Midnight, right? Where they actually consulted with people who had some measure of accessibility issue. Which isn't to shirk the stuff that they did in like Doom the Dark Ages or Assassin's Creed Shadows or FC26 and all that. Yeah, I think South of Midnight is the one that did actually consult with a whole bunch of people. Motor disability is also extensively considered, with options for faster holds, glide, hold toggle, and auto-target lock-on. Skip features for all combat and chase sequences and bosses. Wow. Fine-grained difficulty settings that go all the way up to invincibility. Yeah. I mean, I hear it even says at the top. South of Midnight built upon Compulsion's previous accessibility experience, taking it further through extensive work with disabled players to identify new possibilities and set ambitious targets. Yeah, I think it's really wild to, like, if you're going all out, just be like, yeah, we're just going to give you the ability to, like, skip stuff if you want. You know, if that's your idea of fun with the game, go for it. I think that's a wild statement to make. All right, let's head back here. I think it's got to be South of Midnight, right? On account of that. That's really wild. We're going for it. It does make me wonder about stuff like having console commands active in your game. Would you consider that accessibility, even if it's like in a roundabout way? You know, wherein you can just cheat through that to sort of hopefully circumnavigate accessibility issues if you have like difficulty with certain motor challenges, you know, chase sequences and stuff like that. If you just have access to pop up like, okay, console commands, just let me skip this stage of the quest or whatever. I feel like you wouldn't, because it's not the initial intent. I feel like intent is very important, you know? It is nice that it exists, but I feel like intent sort of takes the cake. Games for impact. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Consume Me. Despelote. Is that how you say that? I'm sorry. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. South of Midnight, and Wanderstop. Unfortunately, I've not heard of 3 of these. I'm unfamiliar with Despolote, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Actually, maybe I did see like a trailer for that. And I'm completely unfamiliar with Wanderstop as far as I know. Published by Annapurna, though. Consume Me is a weird, funny little game where you eat stuff, I believe, right? And it's also about, I think, consumerism and the way in which it consumes you. I do have to wonder, though, it might be South of Midnight that takes it again. You know, because there's, as far as aesthetics are going, and as far as games made of a certain caliber, and in a particular way, where it's like third-person action, I feel like there's very little in the way that attempts South of Midnight at that same level. So we're going with that. Best ongoing. Now, this is a particular one where we should tread carefully because right up ahead, we'll skip ahead one. There is also best community support, which it is wild that there is such granularity here, but it is worth bearing in mind, right? Best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates / patches. Best ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. This is one of those categories that is often glossed over at the awards show, right? This is one of the ones where they say it right after like a commercial break. They like spit out like 3 of them at once. Anyway, up for the running, we have Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky. Which, Helldivers 2 got into some hot water and has been facing issues, but they're sort of coming out on the other side of it right now, hopefully. Wherein they were pushing too fast for additional, like, content, where it backfired a bit. They got a bit ahead of themselves. You know, they bit off more than they could chew. And it upset a lot of people. I feel like No Man's Sky is the safe bet because they just keep updating it. Right, this year they did the big ship customization stuff that isn't too dissimilar from one of my favorite parts of Starfield. You know, they really delved into that, which frankly makes me want to get into it, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the imagery here for their like poster meant to also mimic the like the Starfield frontier ship? That's what it's meant to sort of look like. They're evoking that big time. Final Fantasy XIV, was this the year in which their big like vacation getaway expansion launched? Because I heard that one wasn't quite as rambunctious and off the wall as what preceded it. Which a lot of people were understanding of because it was like the end of a big major part of the game, a big saga within the game. So, of course, the next thing, you need some build-up. Fortnite, I've played fairly regularly this year. Some seasons more fun than most, right? I do really like the current Simpsons thing that they're doing. But I don't know if that elevates it to that level. You know? Like, it's nice that it's nominated, but I feel... it feels hollow to vote for it, you know? It feels hollow to vote for Fortnite in a list in the same way that it feels like 10 years prior, 15 years prior, it would be like voting for Farmville, dude. I can't do that. I can't. Marvel Rivals was really, really hot for about a month and then rapidly started to cool the hell down, right? How hot is it right now? How popular is Marvel Rivals? I feel like around the time that they start putting the Fantastic Four in that game, people started falling off of it and went to other things, which I think is fine. But, you know, maybe it kind of sucks a little bit if you're a live service game. I think I'll go with No Man's Sky. I don't know if No Man's Sky will win. It's often nominated for these categories, but I'm such a lover of No Man's Sky and like how they've turned everything around. I'm a sucker for redemption. Best community support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates / patches. Which this is where maybe Helldivers is like turning around, right? Maybe they're turning everything around. We sort of talked on the others, except for Baldur's Gate 3, which did have, we got to play some of it this year, the big update, which included one brand spanking new subclass for every class, as well as the photo mode, among some other things. But the big one was a brand new official subclass. And was it this year that they finally got like mod support fully tacked down and sorted out? No, I think last year they got it, you know? But this year was definitely the new subclasses, which was wild. And frankly, kind of out of nowhere. Part of me wonders if BG3 is going to do another out of nowhere update, even though they said they definitely were not, you know? This is common with indie games, right? The Lord knows how many times, how many last updates have we had for like Stardew Valley or Terraria? But they just keep coming. The last update just keeps coming and happening again and again. I wonder if they'll do the same here with Baldur's Gate 3, but I would imagine maybe not, because it requires so many more studio resources to do stuff like that. I don't know. That said, Cyberpunk does it. Man, yeah, there's one. Didn't Cyberpunk have a big couple updates as well this year? Like post-Phantom Liberty of the year prior? I'm surprised they're not on here. Huh. Maybe I'm mistaken. It was a different year where they did that. Maybe I'm mistaken. Regardless, I do enjoy Helldivers 2. I do enjoy it. My question is, I have a difficult time discerning the difference between either of these two categories. Right? The granularity is too much, right? How wild that we're getting granularity here, but coming down the line, we're going to just have stuff like best RPG, right? When we get into a whole discussion of what is really an RPG. Man, I love talking about that every year. I love talking about the same exact dumb stuff every year about the Game Awards. Wow, I love tradition and ritual. All right. Screw it, dude. I'm going for Helldivers 2. Why not? Maybe I picked wrong, and it should have been Helldivers 2 and the other one. I don't know. I don't know. They did also just bring it to Xbox as well, which is kind of a wild feat. That is kind of a wild feat. It's Sony published. It's a Sony game. That is kind of wild. Best independent game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Now, this one recently was subjected to a little bit of drama, where I heard Megabonk, the sort of 3D Vampire Survivors-like game, was on here, but it was technically not their... Oh, no, it was for Best Debut. They withdrew from there. They're not nominated for this one. But here, we'll get into that in a bit. We have Absolum, a game which I'm unfamiliar with. Ball X Pit, which seems pretty fun. Seems pretty fun. It's the one where you have balls and you're in a pit and they bounce around and they knock out little rectangles and stuff, but it's themed in a really fun way, and there's like roguelike elements, you know. Blueprints, one heck of a wild puzzle game from what I hear. I would like to play this. But I'm holding off for now. We're probably not going to play it on the channel because it's a puzzle game, and I feel like I'm not good at puzzle games, thus it will be excruciating to watch. But nonetheless, I do have interest in trying it out. It sounds like it's a good time. And of course we have Expedition 33. It hardly seems fair that it's here, right? It seems unfair that this game is here, right? It seems mean to everybody else here. To Hades 2, to Silksong, the long-awaited Hollow Knight Silksong. It seems so cruel that Expedition 33 had to exist in this year. But it does. And it is taking the win. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Best debut indie game. Blueprints, once again here. Oh, notice they did withdraw it. There is one missing. Blueprints here. Expedition 33. Despelote. I've heard nothing about this game whatsoever. Is this like is it a game that is popular in a very different region from mine, perhaps? Is that it? And somehow it has managed to show up in an awards show which is very popular in my region? Maybe that's it. Anyway, finally, rounding things up, Dispatch, which is starring Aaron Paul. Speaking of Hollywood performance, yeah, you know what? I'm surprised that nobody from... If Dispatch was late enough or early enough in the year to qualify for the award show, I'm surprised that there wasn't at least one performance nomination from Dispatch. Whether it be, if you want to get Hollywood, with Aaron Paul, the same Aaron Paul of Breaking Bad fame, playing the main character, Robert Robertson, or any number of the other cast. Maybe it would be a little bit weird if it were some of the cast who are voiced by like famous like YouTuber, streamer, influencer folks. You know, maybe that would get a little weird and muddy. But I feel like the two people that folks are fawning over the most are not voiced by people like that. It's Laura Bailey and what's her name who voiced Snow White in The Wolf Among Us? Which I bring that up because this is a game made by a lot of those same people and in the same style as those sort of old Telltale games. But it is cool to see it up here. And it is very cool to see them back at it with such a runaway success, you know? Maybe the secret sauce was just including a bunch of YouTuber influencers, right? Maybe that was the secret, just include a whole bunch of really popular YouTubers to promote the game and be in it, you know? Wow, what a way to advertise your thing. Oh, I feel like that's a slippery slope, though. It's a little scary if we get a little too far down that road. I feel like that would backfire. I wouldn't want that. I feel like it's okay for one studio to do it or have it happen every so often, but I don't want it a lot, right? I don't want it a whole lot. Or at the very least, if you do go that route, I don't want to know. I do not want to know. Like in this case, it was decently marketed in such a way where it was like, I saw people who were in this game who were also actively making videos and stuff, sort of saying like, hey, I'm in this game, which, you know, why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to do that? But I feel like it's something that could get a little old a little quick. But regardless, it's good. I think a little bit in moderation is fine. I think a little bit in moderation is totally okay. It's probably Expedition 33. I'm sorry. Expedition 33 is probably taking it. I'm very sorry. Best mobile game. Destiny Rising, Persona 5, The Phantom X. Man, there's another Persona 5. Man, how much are they trying to milk Persona 5? Oh my God. People laugh. Listen, you know how much, as someone who has a pretty big focus on Bethesda games, you know how much I have to hear about people saying like, oh, another version of Skyrim. They sure are milking Skyrim or whatever. Man, chill out. Chill out. Look at Persona 5. Come on. At least in the case of Skyrim, probably most of those make some amount of sense because they're porting it over to a different console, a new generation. They're collecting a whole bunch of different stuff. In this... Man, I don't know. Is Persona 5 The Phantom X really good? Because every time I see another Persona 5 whatever, I remember my experience with just Persona 5. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. I kind of fell off of it a bit. But it sure is wild just how much of it there. Like, this isn't even made by them, is it? Black Wings Game Studio? That's not the people who made original Persona 5. It's a whole other studio working on it. That's wild. Sorry, that's neither here nor there. Maybe Persona 5 The Phantom X is like rad as hell. Anyway, Sonic Rumble, which I don't know anything about. Actually, nor do I know anything about Destiny Rising. I have no idea what that is. Destiny Mobile? What? One of the games I actually know something about, Uma Musume Pretty Derby. This is a game about anime girls who are horses and they race each other. And you breed them somehow, I think. You breed them somehow and you bet on them and you upgrade them and they get bred. It was very hot for a hot minute. It's probably going to win this. Frankly, I hope it wins this. So, what a far-fetched, idiotic thing. I hope it wins. Anyway, Wuthering Waves. I didn't even know that came out this year. This is one of the competitors to the ever-popular Genshin Impact, I believe. I guess it had been in early access for a while because I kept hearing about it every so often. But regardless, it's probably Uma Musume, right? It's probably that. Next category. Best VR/AR. For the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Unfortunately, I'm not very much into either of those. I don't have anything that is compatible with any of them, so we're kind of having to like go by the seat of our pants here when it comes to judging these. Alien Rogue Incursion. I don't think I've heard anything about that. Arcan Age. I'm sorry. Ghost Town? I don't know. Marvel's Deadpool VR. I think I've heard of this only because it's very recent. And people saying that the Deadpool isms were very much wearing on people. and how much whoever is playing Deadpool was trying to be Ryan Reynolds, which is layers of potential annoyance. I feel like Ryan Reynolds maybe starting to fade out of the realm of public favor, where people are getting a little tired of seeing his smug face and doing the one character that he always does in every movie. It's just the same variation of the same guy. Is that anybody else, or maybe that's just me? You like that? I delivered that in a very Ryan Reynolds kind of way, huh? But The Midnight Walk, I haven't heard anything of it. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to go with Marvel's Deadpool. Sorry. That's my only basis of knowledge whatsoever. Best action game. What a thing to say. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Wow. What a thing to say. Okay, Battlefield 6. You thought RPGs had it bad with genres. Whew, action game. In 2025, we're saying action game? All right, Battlefield 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I actually haven't heard any about Shinobi. And when it comes to Ninja Gaiden 4, am I incorrect in this? Is this one the remake? Because that's the one that I heard the most about. The remake of, I thought it was Ninja Gaiden 2. Rather than the new one. Is this a new one? I don't know. I feel like all the questions leads me to think it's not going to be that. Oh, man. The real question is it going to be Hades 2 or Battlefield 6? I feel like Doom the Dark Ages just did not make the same kind of splash it had in years past. As far as reception and sales are concerned, it just was not hitting like Eternal or 2016 did, unfortunately. I would like to play it eventually. I think Hades 2, it's between Hades 2 and Battlefield 6. I want to give it to Hades 2. But there's no denying that Battlefield 6 had a moment this year. You know? It definitely had a moment. Ooh. Okay. Here's my wild one. I think it's going to be Battlefield 6. Let's see. Let's see. Place your bets. Let's see. Watch it be like fucking Shinobi, whatever that was. Sorry, Shinobi, whatever that was. Not to be dismissive of all of your hard work. Best action/adventure. For the best action-adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. They have Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Silk Song, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Split Fiction. Ooh. I feel like Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding 2 are not quite delivering in the realm of combat with traversal and well, traversal! For Death Stranding 2, there is traversal. I don't know. For me, the ones to beat are Split Fiction, Indiana Jones, and Silk Song. The trouble with Indiana Jones is that it came out last year in 2024, but it was so late in the year that it wasn't able to qualify for the Game Awards that year. That's the difficult thing about it. As someone who enjoys and loves Indiana Jones, I want to give it to it. I mean, when I think action-adventure beyond video games, just in general, I think Indiana Jones. I think Indiana Jones, and then I think James Bond. In that order, because I'm American, right? I'm looking forward to the James Bond game, right? I think that could be cool too. Yeah, I'm going with Indiana Jones. I'm going with it. There we go. Bless up as well to people who are in the UK who think James Bond and then Indiana Jones. I see you. I appreciate that. I like that we have this going. All right. Best RPG. For the best game designed with rich player customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. We have Avowed from Obsidian. We played Avowed this year. I very much enjoyed it, but it's more of an action-y game, I would say, but I did very much enjoy it. Not everybody did though, and I'm willing to accept that I'm look, if anyone's ever willing to accept and shit on my own things that I personally love, it's me. I'm ready at the drop of a hat to not give a shit and to just be like, yeah, this thing I love, I guess it's just ass. Right? I love doing that. I especially love doing it. Is this gaslighting? Is that what this is? Is this called gaslighting? I love doing it when it makes other people feel bad. I love doing that. Oh my God. Nothing feels better. Anyway. Up next we have, unfortunately, Expedition 33. I'm sorry. We don't even really need to read the rest of them, but we should, right? This is, we've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, which is a wild one. It's wild. Which is definitely more in the line of action RPG. Like, saying best action, like in any, Monster Hunter Wilds could fit in either of them because it's literally an action RPG. Right? Like, it's so firmly in that realm. Right? Like, Avowed, I understand it has a little bit more traditional RPG trappings than Monster Hunter Wilds. I get it. I would still call Avowed, like, predominantly action RPG, and I enjoyed it on those merits. But Monster Hunter Wilds could be an RPG or action. If anything, I would weigh it more, because it's so much more action, I would weigh it more in the realm of action than RPG, because that's just like on the RPG to action spectrum, it's way closer to action than RPG. Anyway, finally, another Obsidian game, The Outer Worlds 2. How are they doing it? how did they put out 2 games this year? How did they do that? Right? Regardless of your opinion on either of the 2 of them, how did they do that? I know that they got multiple studios. Now they got multiple teams working at the studio. But how'd they do it? I really want to play The Outer Worlds 2. I really want to play it. I know I should want to play Expedition 33 more, but I do kind of want to play Outer Worlds 2 more. Right? I'm sorry, but it's true. But we are putting all Xbox stuff on the back burner on account of the BDS call for boycott and all of that. Unless it's like Bethesda stuff, because my hands are kind of forced. I kind of have a channel that's focused on that stuff in a major way. It would be a financially absurd thing to do. I would destroy my own life if I did that. Right? There's only I'm willing to go and do an imperfect boycott. But regardless, eventually someday I will play The Outer Worlds 2. But for this category, I mean, it's Expedition 33. Right? Let's be real. Let's be real. As we have done in the past, let's just take a fucking step back and chill out with all of this analysis and just recognize, shut the fuck up. It's going to be Expedition 33. I click on it. There we go. Best fighting for the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. I did not even know that there were this many fighting games this year. And true enough, there's no like some of the big tent poles are not here. You know, there's not a brand new Mortal Kombat. It's the Legacy Collection. There's not a brand new Street Fighter this year. That was last year. There's not a brand new Tekken this year. That was last year. 2XKO, we'll read through them. Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage, which unfortunately Virtua Fighter 5 in general has fallen to the wayside now. It ain't what it used to be back in the day when everybody had 100 polygons per body. 2XKO it's the new fighting game from Riot where they had this initiative some years ago to develop a whole bunch of games in competitive spaces like fighting games, like something like Valorant, sort of competing with the tactical squad-based first-person shooters, Counter-Strike. maybe a little bit of what do you call it? Rainbow Six Siege, maybe a little bit of that, but hardly. Right? These are characters that are present in League of Legends. And in fact, in that little picture, isn't that, yeah, those are some of the characters from the smash hit Netflix TV show Arcane, which is supposed to be really good. I haven't seen it, though. It's between 2XKO and Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, because I'm pretty sure the Legacy Collection has an extra degree of cool about it because it is the Legacy Collection. It has stuff in that game, which, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm thinking of a different version of it. There was certainly 2 or 3 other games past that did this, where they were nostalgic looks at a collection of older games. And that's what this is. And in this way, this game and those games prior, they had almost like a documentary way to approaching it, where they had behind the scenes video clips and little documents and stuff that you could read if you were really into it and you just want that big injection of nostalgia for that specific game franchise or whatever. That's really cool, and it is so above and beyond. And I do like that that's becoming more and more of a regularly reoccurring feature in video games. You know, I would love something like that for Morrowind, Daggerfall, Arena, Battlespire, Redguard. I would love that. I would love that. I don't think that would ever happen, but I would love that. I feel like 2XKO I feel like it's still cooking. This is what I'm thinking. I think 2XKO is still cooking. It hasn't quite lifted off to the degree that they're quite ready for it yet. You know, it's had its early debut. It's shown its stuff. People are impressed, but it's still cooking a bit. You know, I'm going with the Legacy Collection on account of the uniqueness of it. But I could very easily see it being 2XKO. Best Family. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Lego Party. Dude, Lego Party, I have heard, is actually shockingly really good. I've heard that it puts Mario Party to shame. Lego Party does. Anyway, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this year Sonic Racing has actually given Mario Kart a run for its money, if not outright defeated it in sales. Right? Am I incorrect in that? I think that is the case. That Sonic Racing Cross Worlds has actually outsold Mario Kart World. Maybe not anymore, though. Maybe not anymore. Because Mario Kart World is probably going to have one hell of a long tail on it. But maybe not. Did you hear all that weird stuff about how they said they don't consider Mario Kart World a mainline Mario Kart game? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Regardless, let's take a step back and give it to Expedition. No. Let's take a step back and realize this is probably between Bonanza and Split Fiction, I think. I think it's got to be Bonanza. People were losing their bananas for Bonanza. We're doing it. Bonanza. Best Sim/Strategy. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Dude, video game genres are such a mess. Right? Right. You could put like Rogue Trader in here. You could put like Baldur's Gate 3 in here, technically. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles. Jurassic World Evolution 3. Civ 7, which had a pretty gnarly launch, as far as I remember. Tempest Rising, The Altars, which I heard some decent things about, but I have no idea what it's about. And frankly, the imagery for it is confusing me even more. I have no idea what it is. I have no idea what this game is. The Altars? You could tell me that this is Big Brother, the video game, with that image, and I would believe you. Anyway, they also got 2 Point Museum. Good to see them still doing that. I think it's probably going to be Final Fantasy Tactics. You know? We're back. We're back, baby. It's Final Fantasy Tactics. Just as well. Tactical game? Where's Expedition 33? Right? It's got turn-based tactical gameplay. Get real. Put it up there. Come on, coward. Jeff, put it on there. Best Sports/Racing for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. EA Sports FC 26, F1 25. Is this the first game where they did the whole renaming schema? That's why it's FC 26. I think it is. There's also Rematch, which I've heard a little bit about, and Sonic Racing and Mario Kart World. It's between Mario Kart World and Sonic Racing. I think they're going to do more. I think they're going to do Mario Kart dirty and they're going to give it to Sonic Racing. I think that's going to happen. Because like I said, I think this is the year where Sonic won. You know? I mean, what can you say? This motherfucker's all about going fast. If anything, I'm surprised it took them this long. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Going for it. Another dark horse pick. Best multiplayer. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. Here we have Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring Night Reign, Peak, and Split Fiction. God, I would love if Peak won. Dude, I would love if Peak won this. I know a lot of people had wanted Arc Raiders to win, but correct me if I'm wrong, is there not currently the sense that people are cooling on Arc Raiders a bit? Because the game is simply a little too busted, and it has taken them a while to fix it, and they are saying that they are fixing things, and they are not fixing them, right? I've heard a lot of talk about problems with doors in that game. As someone who does not play that game, and speaking of boycotts earlier, I refuse to play it because of the use of generative AI. It's an easy one for me to skip out on. But I've heard a lot of hubbub, well, about that, but also about them not fixing stuff when they're saying that they are fixing stuff. Which it is rapidly exiting the honeymoon period. And I think that's going to, like, if the time frame were just right where this game came out and it was still in the honeymoon period, easy win. But we are now in the period where the honeymoon is over. Right, we're seeing the dark side of everything, right? And I feel like that's where the trouble is. Battlefield 6, once again, like I said, it's having a moment. It's having a moment. People enjoying a little bit of Battlefield once again. Elden Ring Night Reign, it's okay. I mean, it's fun for what it is, but it's not what I want from them. Right? Sorry. Dude, I want it to be Peak so bad. Split Fiction. Hazelight Studios is a regular here for this sort of thing, right? This is the guy who always comes out on stage and he swears a whole lot on the stage and everything. And everybody says, oh, it's so charming. I love when he comes out stage and shows us his new game and he swears a whole lot and he's a little sardonic and sarcastic. It reminds me of Ryan Reynolds. It's a good game. Right? Split Fiction, it's a good one. It's a good game. God, but I really want Peak to win. I really want Peak to win. I haven't even played Peak, but I have appreciated Peak so much just by virtue of seeing people playing that game and doing silly little voices and screaming like bloody murderers. They fall off of a giant mountain as they fall to their death. It's so funny watching a little dude fall off of a giant cliff and you hear them screaming as they fall down and slip away and die. It's so good. It is extremely funny hearing people die in this game. It's so good. I think it's between Peak and Split Fiction, and my heart wants me to give it to Peak. Who do I think the panel of... I think the panel will give it to Peak. Or am I tricking myself? Am I tricking myself? I'm going with Peak. I'm doing it. Best adaptation. Oh my God. A Minecraft movie. Devil May Cry. Wasn't this notorious? Wasn't the Devil May Cry Netflix situation like notoriously dog shit? Right? Didn't everyone fucking hate it? Splinter Cell Deathwatch. I wasn't even aware this existed. I don't know what this is. The Last of Us Season 2, which I've heard is not amazing. I've heard that the game, that the show is sort of showing its weaknesses. You know? That it's not doing too great. Which I think there's a lot of room for people to be like, oh, well, I'm a weird freak who I don't like Abby. You know, I don't like Abby. She did that thing. Right? I don't like how she looks. I think shut the fuck up. Oh my God. It's so fucking tiring. How many years do we have to hear about this shit? That's not the chief concern, though, is that I've heard. It is to do with a combination of like a switch up of acting prowess, I guess is the best way to put it. And also who is running the show there, you know? I think that it is suffering in that way. This is coming from someone who really enjoyed part 2 of the game until I heard about what it was actually an allegory for. Until I heard about what Neil Druckmann actually had in mind for it. And then I was like, oh my God. But before that, I really liked it. Jack Saint did a good video on that stuff. A few good multiple videos. And then they made Until Dawn into a movie. I forgot they did that. Man, I forgot they did that. I guess it was real dog shit because I didn't even hear anything about it. We got to give it to a Minecraft movie, right? I mean, it's also shit. The Minecraft, let's make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not great, right? It's not great. But it had a cultural moment for multiple months, right? Sure, maybe the movie itself isn't good, but everything else around the movie is what I want to live for, right? I want to live for people yelling chicken jockey. I want Steve's lava chicken, yeah, it's tasty as hell. Some, you'll be ringing a bell. Dude, that is amazing. They literally came out with like a different version of the movie where they were like, yeah, here's the Minecraft movie in this version, where we just want you to get all those kids in here and have them start screaming nonsense, right? I don't know. Like if I were younger and this came out, I would have been with them. I would have been right there with them. I would have loved it. It's got to be the Minecraft movie. And it's not even close. It's not even close, dude. And it's for such a weird reason, too. Like, I don't even know if the sequel Minecraft movie is going to make it. You know, like, how are they going to replicate what happened there? Lord knows a lot of people are wanting to try and replicate it. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Most anticipated game, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. Hey, we talked about this. 007 First Light, Grand Theft Auto 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4. Which, I don't think The Witcher 4 is coming out next year, is it? I guess not necessarily all of these are coming out next year. Though they technically are, right? I think all of these are destined for next year, save for The Witcher 4. Right? I think The Witcher 4 still has like another good 2 years in it, as far as development is concerned. Man, we're going to get another situation where a Witcher game comes out shortly after another Elder Scrolls game. Are we going to have that again? Where we're going to get Skyrim and Witcher 3 not long after? Is that going to happen? Feels like it's going to happen. Regardless, I'm personally looking forward to 007 First Light. I do like a Wolverine. I like Wolverine. Wolverine's one of my faves. I enjoy Wolverine. Resident Evil Requiem could be dope. Resident Evil games historically have been extremely popular. But, I mean, this is the juggernaut here. Speaking of Wolverine, this is the juggernaut. Grand Theft Auto 6. It can't be anything but that. Content Creator of the Year. For a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2025. Kadril, Kai Cenat, Moist Critical, Sakura Miko, and The Burnt Peanut. I know two of these people. I know of Kai Cenat and Moist Critical. But what did they do this year to make an important and positive impact on the community? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What did they do this year? Did they do something? I don't think they did anything. Like at most, all I can think of is when Moist Critical did all those videos on the Epstein file stuff, right? That's it. Was that an important and positive impact? It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. These other people, I don't know them. I don't know them at all. I don't know. I know that Kai Cenat is like this year, by and large, the most popular Twitch streamer, but I don't know what important and positive impact was made. Right? Did he do something like important and positive this year in particular? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I haven't heard of any of these people doing anything important and positive, especially so this year. You know, I don't know. Did they? Maybe they did. And these other two at the end, they're VTubers, right? Of different, of very different degrees, right? Is the peanut guy cool? Here's my question. Is the peanut guy cool? I don't know. I feel like the peanut person here is so buried under like 20 different layers of irony that I don't know if this person is like cool or if they're getting ready to like this person is like one step away from visiting the bridge that makes you racist. You know what I'm saying? They're just like something's gonna tick them over the edge and they're gonna say some kind of like horrible slur to somebody. You know, it's one or the other. Are they cool or are they lining up for, are they cruising for a bruising, so to speak? I don't know. I don't know anything about them. I've vaguely heard of a talking peanut VTuber, right? There's so many people who do streaming and videos and stuff like that these days, right? There's so many people on different platforms. It's impossible. It's impossible to keep up with them. Like, case in point, look at me. There's some guy named Lyle Shnub. You're kidding me. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me likes the earnestness of Kadril, just this dude wearing sitting in a gamer chair with a gamer headset, giving a thumbs up, right? Doing kind of like a goofy look as like clearly exhausted from focusing on gaming. I kind of appreciate the earnestness of that. But I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to be between Kai Cenat and Moist Critical, right? Just out of name recognition. Because I don't know what the hell any of these people have done that's been important and positive. Maybe one of them did something really amazing and I don't know it. If that's the case, if one of these people did something truly amazing, they should take the win. Also, to take some of the hostility that I proffered to the burnt peanut, all of the stuff I said about the burnt peanut also equally now in this day and age applies to Sakura Miko, right? Didn't we just have a VTuber with a anime profile picture or whatever who was just like outed as like a horrible nightmarish like Nazi this year? Did that not just happen? I feel like that was this year, right? I feel like, was this the year that one of those VTubers was like a super Nazi or something? I think that was this year. I think that was this. So you know what? It could go either way. It could go either way. I'm going with Moist Critical. Why not? Why not? I don't know. Just on account. All right. The main reason I'm doing it is on account of the fact that he made those Epstein file videos. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I don't know. Because otherwise it could be anybody. I don't know. What have they done that's important and positive this year? Maybe they all did something amazing that I don't know. There we go. I'm committing to it. My apologies to whoever I missed out who did something amazing and important. My apologies for voting for the most famous white guy on the fucking list. Best esports team, or best esports game, my bad. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform. Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, and Valorant. But you know what's missing from here? We can't talk about. It's the game that's not out yet. You know what would win this? Easy. That's right. I'm thinking it. You're thinking it. We're all thinking it. Claire Obscure Expedition. No. Deadlock. I don't know. I don't follow esports. What's really popping off right now? What had a really good update? I know Dota 2 had a big update recently, but was that because I don't keep up with their news? Like, was that last year actually? Maybe League of Legends also did. No, I'll give it to League. Why not? I don't play any of those games. This is not my speed. Best esports athlete. Speaking of things that I don't keep up with, the esports athlete judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2025, irrespective of game. All right. For this one, we're immediately going to pick whoever. I don't know any of these people. I'm just going to pick whoever I like, whoever is making like a fun face or whatever, right? Whoever has a fun picture. Who's got the most fun picture here? I appreciate the dorky earnestness of our two Valorant champs, right? They both happen to be Valorant champions. There is a dorky earnestness to them both holding up a trophy and just smiling like the biggest nerds ever. I love it. I love it. That's what it's about, baby. Right? I love that. Granted, I also like these two who are given the one finger up, and then also the little crisscrossed what do you even call this? Pieces. Given a couple of them down there. The scissoring. Right? I feel like I'm more keen on this person, Menard, because he reads a little bit less full of himself, right? Like he seems like he's doing it almost like with a touch of irony, and I appreciate that. It's not like to where he's irony poisoned, but he's like, yeah, what are you gonna do? Street Fighter, huh? But like I said, there is something that I very much appreciate about the pictures used here for the Valorant players. I love that. I love it. Dude, I love the Valorant player pictures. Yeah, compare the two Valorant player pictures versus the one Counter-Strike where they chose to use the one where this dude is locked in on the zone. he is in it to win it right now. My man is gaming. Capital G. Oh, man. All right. Follow the finger, baby. Butterfinger. Follow the finger. Saul Leonardo for Menard playing Street Fighter. We're doing it. Did this dude win big at Evo or something? I don't know. Best esports team. Oh, God. We're really in this chamber of nightmares. Best esports team, recognizing a specific esports team, not the full organization, judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2025. Gen G, League of Legends. NRG, Energy, Valorant. Team Falcons, Dota 2. Team Liquid. Wow, Liquid is still going. Oh, PH, like Philippines? Yeah, it's gotta be. Look at those dudes. Those are some Pinoys, huh? Look, I'm a half, technically a quarter Filipino. I'm allowed. Team Vitality, Counter-Strike 2. I don't know any of them. All right. I don't know any of them. But the funny thing is as well, this team, it's for a mobile game. So for the odd one out, I'm going with the mobile game team. Look, I don't have any stake or knowledge on any of this. So I'm going for, best esports team, the mobile game one. the team that they got that phone out. All right. There we go. Final one, player's voice. 3 rounds, 3 chances to vote. Oh, round 1 opens on December 1st, 4th, and 8th. Wow, they're bringing you back. Oh, this is where you can vote for anything, right? You can vote for anything. Oh, what would I vote for? I would probably vote for like Expedition 33 3 times. Yeah, I'm voting for Claire Obscure Expedition 33 3 times. Repeating, of course. What the fuck? Oh, man. Can you actually do that? No way. Right? No way. I mean, I guess you could. It says vote for 10, vote for 5, vote for 1. So they're rounding it. They're like narrowing it down. Yeah. Curious. You have to check back too. Look at that. They're getting engagement this time. They're engagement farming, dude. They're engagement farming. Wow. Well, that ought to do it for the Game Awards. Right? What do you think of that? Jeez. It's probably going to be an Expedition 33 sweep this year everywhere, right? Gotta be. But hey, there you have it. This is our fun little tradition, our fun little ritual that we do. I enjoy it. I enjoy the Game Awards, for better or worse. I like them. That's quality entertainment, baby. All right, until next time, please take care of each other.